All right, everyone. Last character in the group. Welcome back to Tabletop Bob. Today we're with a friend of mine, Andrew, who's going to talk about his character,
Hello.
Dobby. This Saturday, which you might be seeing this today on Saturday, we're going to be playing a game in a new series on the channel. Warhammer 40K players play Dungeons and Dragons. Andrew, welcome to the channel again.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Andrew, you're not new to the channel. In fact, you're an old vet. You've been in a couple of campaigns of mine. What have you played here on the channel?
Our first campaign was Descent to Avernus,
Yes.
and we are currently in our one-shot horror campaigns, which I'm finding very frightening.
We missed you last week, but
I know.
We get it. Real life gets in the way sometimes. That campaign's very unique, the Supernatural 20 campaign, because every game is self-contained. So you don't have to worry about, if you miss a session, it's really not the end of the world. You could come back and jump in and continuity doesn't get messed up.
Yeah, I still have to watch it, though. I'm curious to see what happened.
They all died. So,
No,
spoiler alert.
Really?
No. You'll have to watch to find out.
Oh, I will.
So let's talk about your character. So you are playing Dobby again.
Yep.
It seems, though, every time you play Dobby, there is a different iteration that we're seeing. What are we talking about today?
This time around, it's going to be classic rock gnome Dobby. However, in his pursuit of greatness and mastery of all magic, he's currently working on his evocation, and he's working on becoming the best there ever was.
The best damage-dealing wizard.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's got to blast his way through.
Yeah, now I mentioned a little bit about the party composition so far, kind of off camera, but just to recap, we do have 3 other players joining us. We have Sean Naden, who is a fledgling 40K player in the competitive scene. He's starting to make a name for himself. He's playing a Twilight Cleric, which is a new cleric class from Tasha's Cauldron. So this is the first time I'm ever seeing it on the tabletop, and it should be interesting. He's playing a drow. So he's going to be more of a combat-oriented cleric. Then we have Wargamer Fritz, who is playing a very quirky sorcerer. So even though you're an arcane caster, he will be kind of doing a lot of different things than you will. He's vowed to take no damage-dealing spells, and you're an evoker, so quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, last would be Chris, who is playing a half-orc rogue. So kind of a brutish type rogue rather than the typical one you might think of, the one that wants to stay out of combat. This one wants to get in and do sneak attacks and massive damages. So going to be an interesting group.
Pretty interesting mix, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think Dobby fits into all this?
Well, it sounds like he's going to be doing the heavy lifting with the big damage.
He always does the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The part that really, when I think of Dobby, the moment in our Descent to Avernus campaign was when he basically neutralized the demon lord Yanagu single-handedly.
That was pretty fun.
He's a CR20 like 8 creature.
Yeah, just dangling up in the air.
Yeah, you just levitated him and you held him there, and he couldn't break free. He tried, couldn't break free. All right, so then tell us a little bit about Dobby as an evoker. What do you think you're going to be taking? What spells?
Let's see. So as I was looking through the evocation list, I was kind of wanting to take advantage of the AoE type abilities that, as an evoker, I can basically shoot around my teammates. So normally a wizard has to be aware of his party and where they are because he could blast them with his own fireball. But as an evoker, that can actually avoid them. So I pictured myself whizzing a fireball right past Sean's head during our campaign, narrowly missing his ear, maybe fraying an ear or an eyebrow or two, and blasting him right in front of him. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Fireball, of course.
Of course.
Scorching Ray, Shatter, Magic Missile, Burning Hands, and then a few other defensive spells for myself.
Okay, so a lot of fire spells, but
Yep.
also magic missile for universal force.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
that's the Swiss Army knife right there.
Yep. And shatter is a really good area of effect. Small area,
Yep.
if I remember correctly. It's not that big, but it's a con save, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I think you're going to be doing, like you said, a lot of heavy lifting from the back lines, doing damage, and kind of trying to support the group that way.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't talk about, because everyone's seen you on the channel before, was when you started playing D&D, and the answer is this edition. You played with me, our first, your first campaign.
Descent to Avernus. Yep.
Yeah. So, for the people who've seen you, for the people who know you as a D&D player, who are you in the 40K world?
I'd like to think of myself as a casual 40K player. I play in a tournament here or there, primarily BFS. I play in my longest running streak is a tournament called the American Team Championship in Tennessee. Myself, Kurt Klaus, and Sean Naden are on a team. Dan Woods. We usually go every year, except this year because of the pandemic. But I found myself in a little bit of a mystery at the current edition.
Right.
Since it's a fresh edition. We just had a fresh newborn baby, so it's been tough to keep up with the times.
It's been a crazy time with gaming. Fortunately, I get my gaming in virtually after the kids go to bed, and but I haven't really been able to throw models on the tabletop either. So
yeah, it's been tough, but I try. I watch some videos. I read the new updates, so I'm doing what I can.
Yeah. One day we'll get back out there on the 40K tables. But so, Fritz, Chris, and Sean, how do you feel about playing with them?
I look forward to it. Being all 40K players, I'm sure there's going to be some tactical play, and I'm going to have to do my part to keep up with them. So no mistakes.
So let's take a look at your character sheet real quick because it's on the screen here. So Dobby this is the same statistics you've used, just slightly changing, like you said, the subclass and spells, but all the core is still Dobby, right?
Yep.
So obviously intelligence is your highest score. I didn't realize this until late into the Avernus campaign. You do have a lot of negatives on Dobby here.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you go with negatives for strength, wisdom, and charisma?
Well, as a rock gnome, my primary strengths are intelligence and constitution. So I felt it was very important to put as much as I could into those stats. As a new D&D player, I didn't really understand the full effects of negative points that it could have on me, especially in Avernus when we're taking all sorts of different checks multiple times in one sitting. So
and
you fail one check.
I was going to say our sanity checks in
exactly
the horror campaign. That's
you get those levels of exhaustion stack up quick.
Yeah, they do. I got to ask the last question because the fans are clamoring. They want to know. Did you name him Dobby after the Harry Potter Dobby?
I did.
You did? Okay.
I did.
Yeah, this is clearly evidence this is your first character because that's like a big no-no in like RPGs.
As a fresh D&D player, I didn't. Again, I'm gonna go with the ignorance. I didn't know. I didn't realize it would become what it has become.
He's turned into a legend.
I couldn't go with Harry, so I had to do something.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be too on the nose.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he's become a legend in his own right. He's been on. This is going to be his third show that he's been on my channel. I can't wait to see how he does with the 40K players when we play. Warhammer 40K players play Dungeons and Dragons. Andrew, thank you for coming on and chatting with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Alrighty. See everyone on the tabletop tonight. Bye.